Hi, it's Lisa. I have a special little Valentine's Day project for us. It could be used for any sort of love-themed holiday that you wanted to do, I mean an anniversary or whatever. It can be a greeting card or you can use it for home decor. You need some hearts, and I happen to have these left over from another project. If you tune in Valentine's weekend, you'll see a process video where these become leftovers from a project. So I've got 8 hearts here, which is the perfect number for my project, and they happen to be cut out of craft paper. They can be cut out of any kind of paper, so you can punch or die cut or hand cut your hearts. I've got some background stamps, lots of those, and several colors of ink. I'm also going to work with the jelly plate some. I happen to be using the 4-inch rounds, just something that will cover the hearts, several paints, and some stencils here to work with on that. And I also have some gold embossing powder, and we'll get to that later on in the project. So, and you either need some stickers with letters, or you need die cut letters or thickers. So again, we'll get to that a little bit later on. So now I'm going to move some things out of the way, and I'm going to put these on the craft mat so they don't get my surface dirty here. And they're not going to show up super great on the craft mat, but I still think you'll be able to see them, especially when we start to get some color on them. Again, we'll start by doing some background stamping on 4 of the hearts. So I just need to pick a background and a color and start stamping.
Typically for background stamping, especially with small items like this, I will place the items on the inked up stamp and then use a piece of scrap paper, sort of press that color in. And I chose to do a different background stamp and ink for each one. You wouldn't have to do that much variety, and especially these reds on the crafts tended to kind of look a lot the same once I started working with them, but I'm going to switch over to pink here, and it's not going to look that much different. But because they're different stamps and we're going to be doing other things with them, they'll still all look unique. This last one is a purple color Perfect Plum from Stampin' Up! With a Hero Arts background stamp. So we did a few with background stamps, and then we're going to do a few with the jelly plate for some variety. Now I have this scrap piece of paper with those 3 purple designs on there. That's left over from some other work that I was doing earlier in the week. Some ladies over and we were crafting, and that was kind of my stamp off area, so I'm just going to continue on with it for where I press off the ghost prints on the jelly plate. Right, so this first one is just the antique silk pearl paint and a little bit of Sink Matte there to give it a little bit of design. Now I'm using some Martha Stewart craft paint. This is not a pearl paint. I think it's a satin and red, and I got a lot of paint on there, and I could tell that I had too much paint. So rather than stamp one of my hearts, I went ahead and stamped that one off onto some other that scrap paper, and I still got a fair amount of red paint there, but a little bit of that chevron design. And we're going to keep working with the red, and this one is my favorite. It's really neat. So I'm just pressing this down, and the mask covers part of the heart, and then the rest of the heart got that rest of that red paint on there. So it's really neat. We're going to add some stamping to that later on to kind of fill in that blank area. And I'm going to switch off to purple colors. This is also Martha Stewart pearl paint, which has a wonderful gloss sheen to it. Nice, not quite glittery finish, but glistening finish, we'll say. That one didn't give me a lot of design, but we have more stuff we're going to do. So now this is a Liquitex paint, and these you don't need much of them at all. They will spread really thin, and we're going to add some hearts, and my plan was to press this over on the paper like I did one of the other, and it fell off. So I still got most of the hearts, but then I got really brave and I laid the jelly plate back over it, and oh, it came out so pretty. So I've got really dark hearts there, and then the rest of the purple. I'm glad I have a video of that because I'd never be able to duplicate it again. So we've got now our 8 different designs, and there was one there I wanted to do a little bit more with because I just didn't feel like that one that had the antique silk paint on it. It's just a soft pink. I felt like it needed a little more design. So we'll try this one to get some better purple hearts, and we do. And then I feel like this one needs a little bit more stamping. There was a couple of them I thought needed a little bit of stamping here. Or maybe just this one, I can't remember. There we go. So we're stamping over the jelly printing. I want to make sure they're really good and dry for the next step. I'm going to be doing some embossing. So we're hitting them with the embossing buddy. This is gold embossing powder from Stampin' Up. It's a real fine embossing powder in a dark gold. Just going around the edge with Versamark, and you really want to have tweezers for this process because you're going to be heating this in a minute and you need to keep your hands away from it. Now I didn't put enough embossing powder or enough of the embossing buddies powder on there, and I ended up with too much embossing powder, and I kind of rub as much off of it with my fingers as I can. You can always add more embossing. If you don't get enough around the edges, you can always go over it with another layer. But I lighten up on the rest of them and don't put quite so much embossing powder on them. So now we're going to go over them with the embossing buddy powder again to make sure we don't stick too much embossing powder in the wrong place. Kind of hitting the edges. There we go. We're just going to get a little bit of gold around the edges now. So I'll go ahead and do the embossing around the rest of the hearts. And I've laid them out here with some letters. Most of these are thickers. The I had to use a sticker because I just did not have a capital I and a thicker. And before I actually glue these on, though, I would like to go ahead and punch the holes. What I need are holes on each side of each heart in order to string thread through them so I can put them on a banner. I want to make sure the holes are far enough down that the string doesn't show in the cutout portion in the middle of the heart. And I'm just using my awl. If you had a punch, like a 16th inch punch, that would be perfect. So I'm just going to illustrate how I'm going to be doing the thread and making sure that it doesn't show the wrong place there, so you can see how it's going to look. So we'll go ahead and punch all the rest of these holes and then glue the letters on, and then we can start putting our banner together. Now, one other thing that I want to be sure I have is where the words like love and you and I and love come together, I need something to break that up. So I'm just punching out a scalloped design out of some of that scrap jelly printed stuff, and we'll put those into our banner. So I'm going with the thread around the back of each heart. And I put my thread on a tapestry needle to make it work a little bit easier. This is regular baker's twine. I've had it a long time, and I think it's doodlebug. But you could use any kind of string or twine for this. Probably wouldn't do embroidery floss because it comes apart so easily, frays so easily, but any of your twines would work fine. And then between the L and the I, I'll do another little scallop design. And I'm going to spread these out and place them a little bit. You could put knots between them if you're really concerned about the spacing holding. I am going to do one thing that will kind of help the middle hold together. Now what I will need to do is on each end put a knot at that last hole at the end of the U and U and at the beginning of the I so that this all stays together. I just tied it in a double knot on each end, and that kind of holds things together. And we'll do the same thing over with the I. So this is a cute project for lots of different things. They don't have to be hearts, they could be circles, scallop circles, all kinds of different designs. And you could do more decoration to them, like adding some flowers or things, little small details to these besides just the letters on there. Now, on one of the scallop circles, I'm adding a bow. And I'm just tying a piece of twine in the middle, and that will also keep this more stable so that the banner can't slide as much in between.
And so here's our banner. Take a look at this a little closer. I did not put a bow on both of the scallop designs. I felt like one was enough. Okay. And what I did was I'm going to put this in an envelope. You don't have to. You can hang it from something, but I thought it'd be kind of neat to pull it out of an envelope. So I just punched out a couple of hearts from my stamped off or jelly printed off ghost prints there, and stamped Be My Valentine on there. I happen to have some craft envelopes because I'm stamping up. And then I'm just going to fold this up gently and leave one string out so that it'll be easy to pull out on Valentine's Day. Just going to leave the string out, and I'll, maybe attach that with washi tape or something, and so then when I give it to my honey for Valentine's Day and he opens it up and he pulls the string, out it comes. And then you have your whole banner. So you got kind of a neat design. You could make your banner say anything that you wanted to. I just thought I wanted to do, I love you for Valentine's Day would be a good anniversary gift, or you could do a congratulations banner, or you could do it's a girl or it's a boy if you want to announce what baby, what the sex of your baby is. I mean, there's all kinds of ways of doing that, I think, these days, and I'm not really up on that sort of thing, but you could put anything on your little banner and put it in an envelope or not. But those are just a few ideas for you.
So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you like it, I would love to get a thumbs up. Thank you so much for joining me today.